Please go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, a bit on the Brantford property. My wife and I, we bought it in 2019. We were looking to kind of start getting into real estate as more of an investment strategy. And so we bought a single dwelling, converted it to a duplex. I did a lot of the work myself. I work in construction management, more industrial and commercial as a project manager, but grew up framing for my uncle, building houses, so kind of had a bit of experience that I relied on. Learned a lot from it. I think a big part was also learning about like buying back your time is an important thing, because doing a lot of the work myself, it was kind of a busy kind of burnout season at that time. But the properties worked well for us. And so over the last year, my wife and I, we've been wanting to try to scale some type of a business related to real estate, start to grow our portfolio with the idea of starting to get a little bit more financially independent, allow me to maybe transition a little bit away or fully away from my 9-to-5 job in project management and kind of more manage my own projects. So through our coaching and things like that, I've also identified this kind of missing middle niche. Just seems to kind of fit well with kind of the way I'm wired, my experiences in construction. You know, the projects that I've done are quite sizable, so just kind of like simple flips or just duplex conversions don't necessarily seem that like
anymore.
exciting. And so it's more like, oh, if I could buy land, strategically like create an opportunity and like develop something out of that, it kind of attracts me a bit more. So as we've been looking at different markets and acquiring new property, it just kind of dawned on me of just like, well, we already have this property. What if I, seek to develop something there and create the model that we can then like rinse and repeat, whether in Brantford or in other markets as well. I think the rental income in terms of the rent values is maybe not quite as like high as what a Barrie would garnish, but I still think there's like potential there. And I mean, Barrie, I have been looking in that market because you can do 4 units as of right, which I think is a little bit more attractive for that cash flow point of view, where Brantford's still at 3, though there's talk that may change. So we're just starting to explore it of like, do we do something now? The house, it's a 100-year-old house. When we converted it, we updated finishes and stuff inside, but we were on a limited budget, so we did kind of what was necessary to make it like a nice space. But there's some things that are going to need to be kind of redone soon. Like it's going to need some windows probably at some point and roofing. So as I'm like forecasting that, it's more starting to think, it's like, well, do I really want to invest in a whole new roof? Or what if I just tore it down and like I can spend on a roof on a new build as part of this. So it's kind of toying with that timeline. But my thought is really exploring it and seeing if we can kind of get it going in next year or so.
So in terms of your, you said a couple of things that have really attracted me quite a bit. One of the things you said that, that you're looking, you've done coaching and you've done project management, construction management, if you will, right? And from that perspective, maybe you want to be able to scale up and also look at missing middle as being a coach and things of that. And that's super attractive for what we're doing at a DFMA.build. Again, to give a holistic, where I'm coming from, being in the tech world in Silicon Valley for 20 years, doing a lot of software development. I bought 30 homes in Michigan while I was in California, fix and flip them on my cell phone. And I realized there was a great opportunity when I was fixing and flipping. One guy came in. I said, we want the foundation that's leaking. Somebody said 30,000. Somebody said 20. And so I got it done for $3,000. And I had an aha moment. I said, this whole construction industry is really kind of not standardized. How do we standardize? What if we were to build these things? Almost you build it like a Are you there?
Oh yeah, it just froze for a second.
Okay.
You're back.
Yeah. So what if you were to build houses or multiplexes, like almost like Lego pieces, right?
Yeah.
And that's where my passion for offsite construction opportunity really went off the hook, basically. And then I started going into design thinking from that perspective and looked at prefab, modular, and things of that. Did build a SIP factory for somebody in Paradise. Then did 3D printing, did all kinds of things, creative ways of how do you cut costs, how do you standardize, how do you use offsite, on-site construction and orchestration, and find that silver lining of cutting costs, saving time, and being able to scale it and duplicate it. So through that whole journey, I built this DFMA platform now, which allows you for the missing middle guys to come in and manage their construction right from initial land analysis to doing a quick analysis, which I'm going to present to you. And then from there on, really componentizing. Like if you choose to do some level of orchestration of prefab, componentization, and as well as on-site construction, you could do that onto the platform, be able to track all the different bill of materials that are associated with that thinking, that paradigm, offsite and onsite, and then being able to track each and every activity at an onsite and offsite or hybrid level, that entire orchestration. That's what we built this entire DFMA platform for. While, you know, if you hand this DFMA platform to a new builder or a construction guy, it might be quite overwhelming. So our approach is a white glove service. We're using AI, we're using technology platform as sort of done for you, if you will. So we onboard all your vendors, we onboard all your suppliers, and then also give you some industry introductions that will help you throughout the journey of doing your first build, second build, or mid-rise, if you will. So we're like involved as sort of project managers and like almost managing your project using this platform, if that makes sense.
Right.
And if your aspirations are to do this sort of your project also, like do 80%, as you know, in software development, we do 80% thinking and 20% doing, but the construction is lopsided. It's 80% doing and 20% thinking type of thing. And we want to change that paradigm. We want to empower and coach and educate builders of saying, what if you did all this upfront work and had all your ducks in a row lined up? A simple example, okay? Like you've got like a duplex right now, right? What is it that I should be doing? What kind of permits should I be applying for so that my work does not get stuck? So one of the major things that a lot of people miss out is getting the demolition permit and not knowing that that's going to take a lot more longer time to be able to get that demolition permit before you even start the foundation or start the other things. That's just one example to be able to streamline and prioritize your work. Then what sorts of consultants are going to be needed for me to make this project successful? Like, where do I really start? People have some idea. A lot of people become developers, or they intertwine between builders and developers because they did some garage conversion. And now they want to become a developer type of thing, right?
Yeah.
And by nature, the project succeeds and pencils out, even though it was delayed because there was some margin out there and the equity grew, so it's not a whole lot of problem. But that's not the best practice of you being a proper developer or a proper builder if you want to scale this and do this over and over again kind of thing. So what we want to empower, whether you're a first-time developer or a first-time builder, if you will, that thinking, that design thinking of let's gather all your data in a centralized manner. You have an expert here that understands the construction, that's liaisoning with you like an account manager, like a pre-construction, if you will. So we give people an option. Do you want us to be involved just in the 3 months on the pre-construction? lining up all your permits, all your ducks in one row? Or would you like to do throughout the construction phase, basically? How would you want us to be involved using our AI platform and technology in place? I'm going to pause here and see if you had any questions before we sort of jump into the actual platform here.
Yeah, no, it sounds very interesting. I mean, a big part of like what I'm looking to, is try to build a system and strategy that will be kind of creating revenue for us and our family without requiring as much time. So having a system definitely helps with that. I like how you pointed on the kind of offsite builds or the modular type systems. That's kind of where my mind has been a bit. I've already been meeting with a couple companies just trying to like flush out that thought. If you could kind of build, like, you kind of know what your model is, you know what your exact kind of site is that you need, and you kind of have this model where there's a prefab system that you control your costs, you control your build environment. Where it's kind of interested me the most is like the speed to market that you could do.
Absolutely.
The couple of the companies I've talked to, they said from the time that they release it, they can have the house within 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Built right there. So
if you could,
that power, the power of offsite construction is just astronomical. And then being able to figure out, how do you raise the right funds for offsite construction? Who are the banks that will fund it? And maybe there's an opportunity of a crawl, walk, and run. It's not like a shebang type of thing, which I'll get into some of the vendors I'll show you that I've sort of met with and things of that, and how that can be very disruptive. Because when people think of either prefab or modular, they always think of a big bang and they say, oh my God, how am I going to coordinate? That's a nightmare. So what we're also doing, by the way, we're bringing on board general contractors or builders that are already understanding the power of offsite construction. So in the get-go, say you're an initial developer and you want to be able to sort of shadow somebody into our network, then they will actually handhold you rather than you saying upfront, no, this is a no-go. Most of the times people have a project, they like the idea, but they say maybe some other time type of thing. Well, if you're not going to begin, there's never going to be another time. Either you're doing a project that you understand the power of offsite construction and you associate yourself with a group of people that understand the space and to be able to help you. And the moment you succeed through this process with us, then it's rinse and repeat, basically.
Right. So is it like when you're, I mean, you'll probably get into this a bit with the platform. Is the assistant like AI driven, or is there a human element of this?
There's I would call it human assisted AI.
Okay.
We're not totally, like a lot of people say, oh, well, that AI doesn't work because they'll just do a chat GPT and they didn't get an answer. And that's why we are at DFMA.build. We're very, very conscientious of the fact it has to be human assisted AI. So that's why the role of a project manager, kind of like a builder that's sophisticated enough, or a developer that's sophisticated enough to use the technology tools to be able to deliver the outcomes that are desired, basically. You see what I'm saying? It's trying to build a community of a new breed of developers. Not just because you found a deal and you said, hey, this is missing middle, and show a bunch of PowerPoint presentations and go grab the money, and then, the project delays, there were some variances. No. What we're trying to do is we're doing a lot of the 80% analysis thinking up front here for you. And that's where we get involved in that pre-construction. So the net result, I would imagine, it's like, what if you could save 3% or 5% on your total build cost? Maybe from a time saving perspective, maybe from a material, maybe from a planning perspective, maybe not having aha moment. Oh, okay, I did all this foundation or whatever. I wanted to start on the foundation. I got all these materials, but I don't have my demolition permit right now. What do I do? Where do I go? Type of thing, right? So those types of things where we're doing that upfront planning and thinking for you once you join, our community here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of jump in here quickly.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Just before you do, because I jumped right out of another meeting. You mind? I'm gonna step away for 1 sec to use the
Yes,
washroom.
no problem. No problem.
That way I can.
I'll get prepared by then. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, here we are. So do you see this DFMA project analysis, land analysis?
Yep.
Why don't we start with your project and let's do a quick land analysis. This is like an AI agent that gives you just a rough of the mix, the unit mix possibility. So it prints out a report for you once you type in the address. So what's the project that you're kind of looking to build on right now?
Yeah, so it would be in Brantford. You want the actual address?
Yep, the actual address. I'll type it in here.
So 100 Fulton Street.
Fulton Street.
It's like Fulton Street.
FUL Fulton. Okay. FULTON Fulton
Yep.
Street.
Yep.
Is it double L or one L?
Just one L.
Fulton Street. Okay.
And that's Brantford.
And,
the lot size is 60 feet.
Just the address should be good enough. Let me see if I can. Here. Let's see what kind of report we get here. Okay.
Okay.
And again, this is just a rough thing. There might be some data that but we're using a lot of that AI initially for our analysis. And then obviously once we get involved, we're tweaking either programmatically or having actually a zoning consultant or, a consultant that understands this entire zoning aspect of it. So see, this is what we got. Ontario, we got gather parcel information, lot area 50. Is this like lot square 600?
The actual lot, based on the survey that I have, is 60 feet by 150.
Okay.
Would be the actual size.
But this is sort of giving a little bit more bigger 50 and 132.
So that's giving a bit smaller than what I have, but
okay.
Let's see what it says.
It's zoned at least for residential, single detached, R1C. Is it R1C zoned?
I believe, I know it was R1.
And you go up to 3 units per lot, basically, it says.
Yes, that's how.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So provincial override 3 units per lot as of right. Floor space index, calculate maximum buildable floor area. So just giving you some general initial, how much setback, front yard, buildable width, how much you could do, depth, 87 feet, is doing all the calculation, the height limits. So maximum allowed coverage is about 3,000, 2640. Obviously, the initial one, we'll look into it and tweak it a little bit more programmatically to check that land zoning, if you will, or the size. and then accordingly all the calculation. But at least it gives you an understanding of what are the different, quickly in one shot, rather than you having to go through all the different research you might have to do otherwise. You have this like consolidated report. And that's why we say when at DFMA, where we have a human assisted AI, then, wherever these bugs are, our tech team can kind of take care of it and start honing in and tweaking it. And hence we insist that it's not just an AI driven platform. It's for us to work with you closely and to be able to make those amendments. You have something, a much more faster ground up way to get started out here.
Right.
And then it's got like, a minimum unit size. It says bachelor studio bedroom 550 or 750. The mix, it's just giving you some suggestions. So it says method 1, it gives you different methods, estimated mix units, 3 units, how many you can do, and does a calculation for you. And then another scenario, it's painting like development, triplex, new build. So it's giving you some scenarios that you can go about sort of building this. And also making suggestions if you can do some sort of a rezoning, an R3 zoning, allowing you to do 4 to 6, consult with city planning. And this is the summary here, if you will, right? So any questions so far about the framework and what the report it has printed out, or more details would be needed that would sort of help get better outcomes here, Branden?
I think that's a useful way of quickly kind of getting an idea of the zoning, because it does take time to like find the zoning bylaw, look up the property, then kind of read the zoning bylaw to know. So with this platform, it would just on its own be kind of finding Brantford's zoning bylaw.
Absolutely. So
you have to upload it into it.
No, it would. So the idea here is, since it's an AI-driven platform, we are extremely big on agentic AI. Okay, so we're going beyond AI. Agentic AI is basically it's autonomous agents that are going and are given a certain. They almost become like a skill set, if you will, in an agentic AI. So what will a zoning consultant do on a computer, if you will, right? If I'm a zoning consultant, if you come to me as a zoning consultant, or entitlement consultant, what are the different websites I'd go and do some research on, right? So what we do is we mimic through agentic AI, autonomous agents, mimic your skill set, if you will. So then we build a skill called a zoning consultant will perform these many steps. We'll go to this website, we'll go to Ontario.build or go to Brantford City. These are the sites that you will go to. You will read up on it and then summarize for that specific density. Then you'll go to this website. You will read up on it. So it's exactly doing what a human being, a professional human being would do, and be able to execute those repetitive tasks by using our agentic AI at the back end. So to you as an end consumer, you are just coming in and you're just typing in and saying, give me the output. But at the back end, we've already designed an entire skill set that's tweaking it over and over again. So like we found out, maybe the lot size is not correct. So we would tell that agentic AI that maybe the site that you're referring to is not the right source. We would go and fix it at the back end. So now once we've fixed it for you, it starts becoming more and more intelligent through this agentic AI, if that makes sense, basically.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I noticed it's making reference about access off of Wood Street. So my lot wouldn't have access to Wood Street. So I don't know if it's somehow got a different lot in mind, but just pointing that out.
Absolutely. So these are good conversations to be had, right? That we basically come together and we keep tweaking it. Maybe the sources right now that we've fed aren't the appropriate ones. So what we would do, ideally, what we would do is we would actually get a zoning consultant in your area, a professional service, a zoning consultant, and work with them and sit down with them and say, tell us what websites do we need to go. And we would actually have all that information then fed back. So now we're doing that repetitive task. Now we're the DFMA platform starts becoming more powerful, is that at a human level, they might be able to do some research on that website, but they might not catch some nuances because there's so much to be read, right?
Yeah.
But our agentic AI might be able to now start getting smarter of saying, well, maybe you missed this part, and creating those, not so obvious statements and adding that and building that to the report. So we would actually get on the call with the zoning consultant and actually make sure that we haven't missed out. And that's the beauty and the power here when you have all this human assisted consultants working on behalf of the developer and the builder here, right?
Right. So is that something that has to happen on the back end, or can like say me as the user kind of work with it to coach it in that way too, where you could just upload, say, well, here's the zoning bylaw and I know it's this zoning and this is my lot size. Would that help refine it where it could be checking that itself?
Absolutely. Bang on. You're absolutely correct. So this would be like a land analysis, like a quick, and I'll get into quick construction and detail analysis. This one is a quick and dirty, but if you want, we can create like an input. So that way now the agentic AI is very targeted, that go find all these sources. That would be bang on. Like give it like 7 or 8 websites that you already know in Brantford that you read and you don't want to have the headache. That might be a bang on thing because now you've given it context data. You're providing the right context. Now it's able to really become very smart, basically. You're absolutely right. We can kind of, and that's what we do here at DFMA.build. Just because we have this option and feature build doesn't mean, because we are a group of AI engineers ourselves. So we can start adding those features and functionality as and when what you need happen, our developers can make it happen for you, basically.
Right. Cool.
Okay. So we'll go on to the design analysis, similar type of a thought process. Again, this is a quick analysis. It's not replacing a designer, but it's giving you some options of what your 3 stories or 5 stories or unit mix might be. So if I say, hey, this is my, include balconies or don't include balconies, it's a 4-story or 3-story, and what is the architectural style? Show me a 3D elevation and a 3D perspective. So it will go and generate that for you.
That's pretty cool.
So now once it renders, you have an opportunity, you have a vague idea that you can start going to a design team and saying, I want my building to look like this, or look, or maybe you can upload the neighboring buildings, if you will, and say, give me a building that looks very similar to that. Do you see this?
Right. Yep.
I'm going to just download this and look at the 3D perspective, and you can see with what clarity is it sort of building what sort of features and functionality. Are you able to see this?
Yep.
They did that mass timber and things of that.
That's
Isn't
cool.
that cool? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's neat.
So this just gives you an idea of what your roof should look like. And again, we can change all the inputs as we start working with you on your build, if you will. And then you also have the front elevation. This would have taken you thousands of dollars when you're talking to a design company and getting you to this level. But here you could do it in a split of a second, and you have some groundwork that's already done. Look at this details here.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
solar array, gray water, level 1, 2, 3, 4. What would that look like, basically, right? So that's another sort of analysis, if you will, for you to save time and money, if you will. Now we get into, let's say you got the land, you got the design, you have a rough idea. You want to be able to know whether your project is really going to pencil out or not. Like a quick analysis out here. So you have the development charges. This is just an example of like a 10 unit, if you will. And it's looking at your debt service coverage ratio, see if you're going to be funded, not funded, and stuff like that. And right here, let's say if my land costs, if I reduce, I'm just going to reduce it, and you'll see the debt coverage ratio has gone better, basically, right? So you have a quick analysis of your monthly payments, how many units, what's your rent roll going to be, the amortization, all that is in one place, basically.
That's interesting. Is it does it pull kind of like market stats for rent, or are you manually having to put that in?
Right now, it's manually we're putting that market rent, if you will. But again, depending on the level of sophistication you want to get to go, and that's some of the goodies that we might be able to throw in of saying, okay, let's run an agentic AI that goes and finds out the market rent, and maybe do a side by side. Like one is an agentic AI that's right on the right-hand side, and then one is your manual that you can override it, even though you've got some rough idea or you agree with it, you leave it there, basically.
Yeah.
So now I go into the detailed construction analysis, and this is a critical part here. What we've done is we've identified all the different levels of, and this is super critical what's happening out here, because we've broken down all the geo-focused construction contingency, municipality connections, what's your budget, how much is it going to be cost per unit, cost per square footage. And the key part to notice is priority. You can actually prioritize on each and every phase up front that's saying, these are my priorities for this phase. I need to focus on this and have the right people involved in it. So we've got right from construction costs to design and engineering. Look at the amount of details that we've broken down. You have architectural design, structural engineering, and electrical, mechanical, environmental survey, civil consultants, appraisal, bulletin 19 inspection. All of this consultants are needed for you to make your build successful. And this kind of upfront, giving you the knowledge and the list of people that you don't miss out on, is a major, major foundation for your build success. But you've been doing complex build, Branden. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I can see that there's some value definitely in that. Like the data that's pulling there, I guess, like, can those fields be manually updated, or?
Yes, they're all, updatable. So I can come in here,
right, okay,
and increase, decrease, all that stuff I can do, basically.
Right. But as an initial ground, like, where is it getting that data? Is it some, like, I guess if I were to just run that and kind of, is it like, I guess what I'm getting at is how like reliable is it to a certain like market? Or is it still going to require mostly manual updating for each category?
For the most part, we give you an entire template that we feel that these are the lists, and then you can add another task here. Like say we missed out something, then you can add another consultant out here, so you can edit it. But we give you a ground scratch sort of a template. And also, mind you, in DFMA.build, we're not like saying, hey, here's the platform, go do whatever you can. And that's disaster recipe right there. We're right there. We're collaborating with you. We're co-working with you. We're almost like doing a developer job, but not completely like a developer job, but getting everything tidied up for you up front. And that's what we do in this pre-construction analysis, and work with you on that data to make sure that this is on the get-go so you can prioritize. And then it starts getting very exciting and interesting, because once you have all these consultants and data and you prioritize, then we can start doing AI agents, agentic AIs of saying, Okay, I've got my foundation guy. Start sending emails to the guys who are going to do framing. Let's get the framing guys on board, basically, right? So we can start doing a lot of that agentic work of codependency, of being able to manage your project effectively, so that no ball is dropped, or none of the workers are saying, "Oh my God, what happened?" Because it becomes a nightmare when you're coordinating. Whether you're a developer or a builder or an investor, you need to have this kind of a lot of the guys, developers today, they think, "Oh, we've done a lot of this, it's all in our head." But that's not possible. We all know somewhere or the other, and then they'll blame it that the contractor didn't show up, or he didn't do a good job, and it's just a spaghetti chaos on the field here, basically.
Right.
So on the legal administration side, so you see we've kind of covered a lot of consultants that you should be looking at and working on. Development fees and permits, marketing, operating expenses, finances, finance subtotal, contingency, and the grand total out here, basically, right? So there's a lot that is being covered here in the detailed construction analysis, that we make sure that you have covered your bases and ground before you even start work.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this?
No, it's useful as a good list of all the things that may be overlooked.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to get into another presentation, which is a DFMA.build, the on-site and off-site construction that I mentioned, of how you can benefit with off-site construction and building components here, okay? Let me know if you can hear the volume. Okay, let me see. Are you able to see the screen here?
I do see the screen.
Yeah, it's just a recording, so I'm just running that recording, okay?
Okay.
Yes, clear.
Are you able to see DFMA.build?
Yep.
Stop bleeding margins on unpredictable builds. Traditional construction is slow, fragmented, and chronically over budget. That's so true. Everyday life costs money, while miscommunication between design and construction leads to endless rework, material waste, and squeezed margins. So this essentially is the tag to what I'm going to be speaking about in on the Missing Middle Summit, because how we target these lower construction costs, even though I am doing traditional builds, currently the idea is controlling cost through identifying all the inefficiencies, especially when it comes to like procuring materials and certain vendors that we often leverage to get really great pricing on certain things. Like with DFMA, I could see this being like 10 levels more, or more efficient, because now you're adding the controlled environment component, you're adding the set materials. Wastage, I still don't know how you'd calculate the wastage, because now there's wastage on the build, which I'm now trying to control, but then with DFMA, you're gonna have wastage on the manufacturing process.
Absolutely. So now if you can see the workflow, what we're talking about DFMA, it's really from concept to construction. A lot of people do not understand the entire scope, and it's really laid out here on DFMA.build. It's not just only about material, supply chain. It's a combination of all, right from concept design. When you identify a land, you do a generated design. You look at construction strategy, circular construction strategy. You start building components and products, and then get into all the prefab, panelization, modular. Everything is at different levels and different steps. and DFMA.build, we cover the entire gamut. So it's not just offsite construction, or it's not just only prefab panels or modular. It's this workflow that you're looking at end to end is being taken care on the platform, as well as you have a white glove service where our consultants, our experts can kind of take you through that concept design to construction in the entire workflow process using this AI platform for DFMA. But, Courtney, you're an experienced construction manager. You've got several years under your belt. What are your thoughts about this workflow that is being laid out here?
Yeah, you know what? It's pretty self-explanatory. It's brilliant. It simplifies it a lot. I like that anybody that is unfamiliar with the term or the word or the acronym rather, DFMA, can come and take a look at this thing. And it's all really design based, right? You got concept design, schematic design, detailed design, and then you get into the construction. So it really simplifies it, that anyone not necessarily with a construction background could understand and see this as a business, as a model, as a structure for how efficiently things could now take place in the build world.
Absolutely. What I'd like to do is really immediately jump into the platform, because in the industry, as you may have heard this buzzword DFMA so often, and people talking about it, you may have seen a lot of presentations slide. But how do you really put it to practice? How do you take this entire knowledge base and orchestrate that? And that's what DFMA.build platform has built for us here. So I'll log in and I'll walk you through, since you understand this other case example. I'm just going to, these are some on-site versus off-site, and if this is a KPI for on-site versus off-site, we have taken into consideration all the different KPIs that one has to look at: on-site labor hours, on-site construction versus off-site. What are the benefits of one over the other? So typically, on an average, you're looking at a project duration 12 months, and in some cases, these are all research numbers. Not necessarily, it would differ from project to project, but this is a framework that we look at when we get into DFMA. Really, how do we kind of save time, on-site labor costs, material waste, material costs, quality, consistency, defects that happen on site, safety incidences that you have to worry about, carbon footprint, total construction costs, and some realistic numbers to be able to see of how we could save per square footage cost. These are not necessarily, it would vary from project to project. These are all forward-looking statements, so please do your due diligence as you sort of embark on a project. But this is a framework that we have, that we look at the on-site and off-site construction. This is super critical to be able to bring this to the front face forward to show exactly the financial impact and summary of benefits that you would have with on-site and off-site. What are your thoughts here, Courtney, that you're looking at this particular analysis framework in the DFMA environment?
Yeah, no, this is interesting. I like how you've taken that deep dive, even starting from the construction analysis, which is like a pro forma of some sorts, to now being able to do these side-by-side comparisons and then showing the metrics of how you can save and really the disparity between on-site and off-site. Man, I've never actually seen any data presented in a way that's this clear and that could be actually done in real time.
Absolutely. And the whole idea and intent on this AI, sorry, go ahead, Courtney.
I'm just saying it's a game changer, the way in which it's being presented.
Yeah. The other thing is the intent is to tie back all these metrics rather than just verbally talk about these metrics, what are the real benefits, right? At the end of the day. So we hold these metrics like, hold your feet to the fire, if you will. When the construction is happening, how is it all getting impacted on the entire project out here? So as we move along, we get into the real nitty gritty of how does this DFMA. So I'm going to pause here, but really invite some questions. Any questions so far, what you're seeing, Branden, now, because we're going to get into the componentization after this, but what are your thoughts so far, what you've seen here?
I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, is this an analysis on a project, or this is just more market analysis as kind of a sales kind of indicator of the benefits as a whole between, obviously on-site construction versus off-site? Because like a lot of this I've kind of understood, like we analyze it a lot for even my work. So I'm just wondering, like, is this more just like general statistics, or is this somehow related to a project in the analysis of the AI?
So very interesting question. So it's a bit of both, right?
Okay.
We've set the framework that these are the metrics that we're going to monitor. So when we get onboarded in your pre-construction or something, right? Like you have like a cost consultant, as you know, in construction, that will say, hey, this is how much we're thinking that this project is going to cost.
Yeah.
So it's a similar framework that we're saying these are the metrics when we engage with you, we're going to hold the feet to the fire. We're going to try and pick up that data as the project moves along. So for each individual person, each builder, we would be shadowing at the back end. Our account managers would be looking at, okay, how much time did it take, right, from looking at all these different metrics? What was the wastage that happened and things of that? And it doesn't have to be on-site or off-site. You could just do on-site. But these are some of the metrics we're going to really start documenting and accounting for you on your project, basically.
Okay.
Right. So I'll move into the componentization. That's a super exciting topic here. I'll get that started here. Really work. So it's very important that we actually address the componentization. And so I'm going to actually start putting some DFMA components out here. As you can see, this is an exterior wall. So I've got an exterior wall. I'm just going to add some of the components here. You can actually customize based on the different components that you're about to build. So we've got a floor cassette, a floor system. And I'll get into quickly how these things, what is the paradigm of the DFMA side of it as I build this thing together. I have an MEP wet wall. So I've got that. I'm just building my entire DFMA componentization approach. And then I have a bathroom pod, which is a sub-assembly. And I'll explain quickly once I've sort of put this thing together. So you've got a kitchen pod. We're looking at a bathroom pod right now. So let's load that. And then we're looking at a kitchen pod. So we're going to go ahead and load that. Now you come to the assembly side of it. What does the assembly look like? The assembly is really more of a nested platform, if you will. And this is where that secret sauce is. And I'll get to it in a minute here for you. So the entire DFMA platform is revolving around this nested platform and being able to componentize and modularize all these different aspects of the build aspect in a very clear, distinct manner. So if I look at this configurable units, okay, so there we have it. So what I'm going to do is really explain the concept of DFMA. As you can see, when you're trying to build an entire unit, we've really categorized these products from a single unit. As you've seen, it could be an interior wall panel, if you will. That's a component in our world. Then we're looking at a kit. We're looking at like a kit in the sense like a bathroom pod. You're now taking all those components and having electrical, mechanical, and an entire pod, bathroom pod put together. And then you move to the next one. Now you're putting in a single distributed unit, if you will, or a combined distributed unit, which is a one bedroom configuration, basically, right? So it's a configured distributed unit of how that layout will come together. And then you have the final module. Is it a one bedroom or a two bedroom or a three bedroom? But really it's that one mod that you can move around. So that's the whole idea of DFMA. You break it down to the minutest component, and then you start doing kit apart, and then you do the CDU, and then you do the whole module. So the entire platform is revolving around this, and it's super critical as I walk you through the whole software environment, how all the bill of material, how all the professional services are all tied to these exact methodology from component kit to CDU, as well as this modular unit out here. So that's the whole premise out here. Do you have any questions or thoughts of what I've just explained here, Courtney?
No, so far, I mean, given my background, I mean, it's all really self-explanatory, and I like, again, how simplified it is. I think this would be easy for somebody without the technical background to follow.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as we move along, as you've seen, you've understood the power of like a net. So I'm going to pause here. This paradigm is, I can't stress less, it's so critical, because this is where everything, people start getting nervous. Okay, so how is this going to be put together? Okay, I understand conceptually components, who's the manufacturer, who's going to do what, and things of that. But I'd like to, since you've been doing a lot of complex construction yourself, Branden, what are your thoughts of the way we're organizing all these different components in context, and then being able to put it in that shippable unit, if you will, to be able to close that story of offsite manufacturing and move it to on-site? But so far, what I've shown you, what are your thoughts and any suggestions? What you've been doing, basically.
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Just a quick note: I do have another meeting I got to jump on at 12:30. So,
okay,
just so you know.
So okay, so we can expedite it a little bit more faster. But so maybe I can get into. I'll go into the platform quickly and then close the discussion here. So let me quickly show you what are the other things and like what will be the next steps. Let me share the screen with you. So here, then, as you saw all the components, now you have the bill of material that's associated with a certain component. So it can find exactly what that bill of material is. We have an agentic AI search that will go and find a local vendor that will, you can build those components from a bill of material from a one bedroom, two bedroom, and three bedroom, basically. Any questions?
No, it's neat.
So then you have also the professional services that you can see all the different steps, and you can find different vendors. The AI search will do that and verify whether those vendors are accurate or not. Then you have an agentic search for bill of materials and, as well as suppliers. And then you could do project management very visually. Here it shows you like a yellow mark, meaning you're off schedule. You can move it around, see what's being completed, not completed. And finally, you have the task list that actually shows you how many people are going to be used, whether it's on-site, off-site, or hybrid. What's the material status, what was the plan date, and what's the actual start date and end date. And then also allows you to go through the entire checklist of CMHC, see if you're CMHC ready or not. All the checklist is here. And then your personal network and ready for the mortgage broker, the application. So it goes right to the applicant, and then you know that you're going to get funded for the missing middle and not get stuck out here. That's the nutshell here. But I'll pause here. What do you feel so far, what you've seen, and as the next steps that we might be able to do here, Branden?
Yeah, I mean, the CMHC side, that's the side that I don't have the most experience with. So just seeing that it actually lays out some of the application and kind of setting you up for that definitely seems to have some value.
So do you feel like the project that you're working on, that's something that we can start putting all your data and put this thing together and, put it into shape here from all the goals perspective, whatever you've got going, and maybe get involved with you at a pre-construction phase with you?
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, we're at the early stages, so this would be a right project to probably consider a tool like this. I guess I would just want to understand a bit more. I'm assuming there's a cost aspect. I don't know if it's like a subscription base or how this all
Yeah,
works.
so it's a subscription base for a whole year. It's like $500 per user per month, if you will, and a one-time setup fee of you have 6,000 and then another 8,000 for setup, because we'll have to do all the AI customization. We'll have developers. We'll have a dedicated account manager for you for the pre-construction for 3 months, if you will, and then taking all your data, put it out there, and also make a lot of introduction for offsite construction if you choose to go, or else on-site, we have some builders and developers that will make some introduction. So it's an entire package for the 3 months, but you can access the entire platform for the whole year. And then you have the dedicated account manager for those first 3 months to get you up and running and make sure everything is lined up, basically.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess my first impulse is just at the scale we're at right now. I think the cost would be a bit prohibitive. Of like, that wouldn't be probably an investment I'd want to put into it yet. Still trading time for money. But
what would you, because we're a startup, we're an MVP, like we could do a crawl, walk, and run. What would make it attractive for you to say, okay, if maybe the cost wasn't that much, if it was this X amount of dollars, I'd certainly consider it. What would that number look like to you, basically?
yeah, I'd have to give a little bit of thought to that, to be honest. I think, like, I mean, when you first said $500, I was thinking maybe that's like a year kind of thing. So if I'm thinking $500 a month, I'd have to look at kind of like the trade-off of kind of what I would be gaining from it. I mean, right now, this project, I'm kind of looking at using a builder who's already done a bunch of these similar models, which is, for me, it's more they're kind of hands-off, just kind of taking ownership of it. So for me to have a system like this, is probably not going to add that much value if I went with them. I could see some value here if I do scale up and I'm wanting to be taking on, 6, 7 projects at a time and kind of spreading some of that cost kind of around that. But maybe, because I got to jump off, could you summarize just those costs again for me? Just in a kind of an email so I understand kind of what
Absolutely.
that is, and then I can chew on that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like I said, the cost is not like written in a hard line or something. I'm willing to work with you and see we can set it up. Even though you have another builder, you just knowing where the project is moving and having that sanity up front, working with that builder, if you will, I think will help you and then also allow you to scale up, basically. So I'm willing to work the numbers with you. I don't want to like make the money be the showstopper. You've got an excellent background and experience. Once you adopt this, maybe you could be involved in our other projects also. So I'm looking at it from a multiple perspective out here.
Yeah, fair enough. That's
right?
Cool. So
and
yeah,
we
you
can
can
do
send
a
me
follow-up call after a week or so and just see, maybe you might have some interest in just doing project management. We'll figure something out next week or something, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be great.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for coming on the call, Brent.
Okay, thanks, Sanjay.